So the verdict is in. I went to the mailbox today, finally. Let's see, it's October 27th today, and the hearing was August 9th. So it's been a while. We've been waiting for this, and it's a little disappointing because the judgment is pretty much a boilerplate decision in which unfortunately, the judge affirmed the state's decision, which is kind of crazy because everyone who was in the packed courtroom, anyone who's been kind of watching and paying attention to this, let me rewind a little bit. So the Clark County Elections Department has an error rate. It's verified, certified by the election board. That turns out to be a 1 in 742 error rate. So they found 16 ballots that just weren't counted in a batch of about only 11,000. That's a huge thing. So I filed a HAVA complaint. The Secretary of State denied it because I didn't know that I was supposed to send a copy to the auditor because the state form that I used didn't tell me to do that. It was deficient. Is it intentionally deficient? Probably. But so I filed this, and what we saw is that the state fabricated against me. Not only that, but said, oh, he didn't include his phone number. He didn't have it notarized. False. All those things were false. So they fabricated information to try to federally disqualify it. And unfortunately, the judge said it is hereby ordered, adjudged, and decreed that the Secretary's order dismissing Mr. Anderson's complaint issued on February 7th, 2023 is affirmed. And it's very similar to what the state sent to the judge 2 hours before the hearing on August 9th. And so it just turns out that, she pretty much just used that. Did she delay this couple hours, or 2-3 months because of the packed courtroom and she wanted to diffuse the energy? Was it just backlog? Not sure. But what we do know is, unfortunately, the judge, and I was well aware of the fact that we were asking a lot from this judge, because she would have to kick the Bob Ferguson, who's running to be the next governor, she would have to kick him in the gut by ruling against him. And that's just something judges who maybe have a career in front of them in mind don't want to do, because they know they'll be out. They'll never be appointed appellate judges. They'll never get any kind of state juicy appointed positions. And, was that a factor? Don't know. I do have a public records request put in that I want to see the communications between the clerk and the state. One email that I saw seemed like they were awfully chummy and kind of working together a little bit, but we'll see. We'll see what that bears out. Obviously, very disappointed, but we learned some valuable lessons here. Number one, by pushing back, you expose this. So if I hadn't filed a complaint, we wouldn't see the corruption and what the state is willing to do to get rid of election complaints. We see now the judge and what the judge is willing to do, because people that were in that courtroom saw clearly that the state was, they had been caught, and that there was no harm whatsoever. In fact, the hearing ended by the state admitting that there was no harm by Greg Kimsey not receiving basically a courtesy copy of this complaint. So we have to continue to push back. We have to have recounts of after every election, even if it's just a partial one, and not necessarily to try to overturn anything, but to try to expose these kind of things, because there's all kinds of errors going on. And unfortunately, we have an auditor who isn't interested, because those mistakes make him look bad. Of course, why would he do it? He doesn't want to do it. But we have to have recounts. It's going to cost thousands of dollars, and then act on it and try to pursue that way. That's it, until we get a new auditor, that's going to be the best option that we have. But thank you so much to everyone who supported and encouraged, showed up at the hearing. We can't give up. We can't give up. That's what they're hoping. That's what they're hoping with this is that, we'll crawl back into our caves and give up and let them do whatever they want. And we can't do it. We have to continue to shine the light, expose it, and that's what we'll keep doing.